Gotten a speeding ticket. It'll be it's in the paperwork. Okay. Okay, I got a funny story for you, a couple of them. One traffic court. I got pulled over 7 times driving without a license. I didn't learn after the first, I guess, but it was a criminal offense in the state of Washington. So then I moved to Colorado because I figured might as well not stay there, right? So I got pulled over in Colorado, and they threw me in jail and said, you don't have a license and all this stuff, and you have to go to court. So I went to court, and the judge goes, would you like a plea agreement? I don't know what a plea agreement is. Yeah, go ahead. I'll listen. Well, go over to that lady over there. She'll read you the plea agreement. So she reads me the plea agreement. Really pretty lady, too. And then I walked over, go into court. Judge reads it in front of the court, and I went like, yeah, that's okay, Your Honor. I just got one problem. He goes, what is it? I go, that last sentence you said says, I have read this document and fully understand it.
Yeah, that's bogus.
Okay? I said, Your Honor, I can't sign it. He says, yes, you can. You just said, talk to her. I read it. She read it. What's wrong? It says, I have read. I said, you read it. She read it. I can't read. I don't understand what it is. I go, if I sign it, I'm committing a felony. I can go to prison. I don't want to go to prison. Don't want to do anything wrong. I said, it says, I have read. He goes, just sign the document. I said, Your Honor, come on. I have read means I've read it. You read it. She read it. I don't know what's on this paper. The third time I said it, he says, look, this is what we're going to do. You're going to go down to the court clerk. You're going to pay $15 for the court fees today, and we're going to forget the thing ever happened. Second time did the same thing. The judge did the same thing. So it's good to be stupid. And he says, pay the court cost. We're going to forget the thing ever happened. No points were assessed against my license or anything.
You didn't have a license. How could they assess points?
The third, well, they can assess points because they're trying to regulate an illegal act. But besides the point, so then 4 years goes by, I get pulled over again. Well, during the time that I got pulled over again, I had sent a letter to the original judge that did the original case, which I did the original thing in for that right way law said to do when you went to a court, which was take 3 witnesses with you and don't tell them your name. So I took 3 witnesses, didn't tell them my name. The judge says, I'm ruling against you. I said, okay. I always said, wait a minute, Your Honor. He ordered us up to the bar, and he says, wait a minute. He goes, and he starts talking and go, well, Your Honor, if you don't know which one of us is the party that supposedly caused this action and infraction, how? I said, when did you have personam jurisdiction or subject matter jurisdiction to issue anything or to issue anything? He goes, well, because I'm issuing a warrant for your arrest for $4,000. I'm ordering you to leave the court. So we start leaving. He says, wait a minute, get back here. He goes, you understand that if you guys leave that I'm issuing this warrant? And they said, well, and I said, I have one question. He goes, if you didn't have personam jurisdiction because we didn't give you your name and you said that you didn't have personam jurisdiction, how did you get subject matter jurisdiction to issue the warrant in the first place? And the judge goes, just leave my courtroom now. So we left. Then I filed an affidavit of appearance and served it upon the district attorney and the assistant district attorney, and they were talking about my case when I served it on them. And then they signed it, handed me back the paperwork. They didn't know who I was. And I'm standing outside the door listening to them, and they were just... So the judge dismissed one of the charges but didn't miss the driving without insurance. So there's a bench warrant issued for $4,000 for my arrest. Well, when I got pulled over in Colorado, it finally showed up there. What I did is I wrote a letter before the last time I got pulled over in Colorado. I wrote a letter to the judge stating that he made a mistake and that he should, if he could find it in his way to correct the mistake. Next thing I know, my whole driving record's gone in Washington State. Doesn't exist. Not even in the computer. When they pulled me over, I get pulled over in Colorado for the 7th time for driving without a license. They pulled me over and said, well, our records even show that you've never had a license ever issued to you ever. Whoa. And so the judge orders me to go get a license. So I said, hey, I haven't had one for 9 years. I think I need one. So I go in, I go into DMV, and DMV says, well, our computer says you can't have one. I said, I got a court order that says I can't. I go, I'm not going back to the court without it because this says I have to get it, and this is what it says I have to do. And so the clerk reluctantly gave me the test, but it only said I had to take the written test, didn't have to take the driving test, so I just took the written test and I got the license. So I was happy because I was kind of tired of that battle because it lasted for 9.5 years and it was a waste of time. But it was just funny. And everybody that ever gets in trouble in traffic court, I said, well, you can be one thing. You can either be really good, state your case. I go, but it's better to be stupid as a fence post. Because if you're stupid as a fence post, they let you off. The one guy went in there, he goes, well, I just don't understand what I did wrong. And he sat there and said that 20 times. The judge finally said, look, pay the court cost. We're going to forget the thing ever happened, and you can go on your way.
But now the court costs in Texas are like $80.
Yeah.
That's what court costs in Texas are now.
Dang.
Yeah.
You can't get away without paying. They're gonna make you pay.
Mexico's 59. New Mexico's 59.
What
Well-
about informa pauperis?
Oh, informer paupers is really fun. I got a case that would make people cry. In fact, it moved Colorado up on the list of the most corrupt counties in the United States as Jefferson County.
Really?
As the most corrupt case. Most corrupt. A lady, her name's Jeannie. Jeannie went through a nasty divorce with her husband. In the nasty divorce, it stated that her ex-husband's supposed to pay her $25,000 cash from the refinancing of the property. He refuses to sign the documents on time to allow her to get the financing to be able to pay him off. So she loses the house to the second note holder on the property through right before foreclosure. The second buys the first out. So she has no house now. The court's aware that she has no house. The attorney for her ex-husband brings up the fact that she's been in contempt of this order because she hasn't paid the $25,000 cash. So the judge throws her in jail. Well, actually, I'll say that first. Have you ever seen him ever go to a house on a bench warrant? Take the person out of the house, take him to jail? This is a mother of two. Wheat Ridge Police Department knocked on the door. Is Jeannie here? Don't dare go out that back door. We're arresting you right now. So she comes back out, go around. They arrest her. Wheat Ridge Police, little city, small town, probably 5-block radius town, arrest her. Take her to Jefferson County and enforce the bench warrant, which they never do unless you get pulled over in traffic. Okay? They usually pull you over, they run your warrants. Oh, you got a warrant. Okay, now we got to take you to jail. That's how they do bench warrants. No, they went and executed the bench warrant against a mother of two, which... Okay, so then she gets thrown in jail. She wasn't read her rights when they arrested her. She wasn't given assistance of counsel. She was in jail for 9 days. There is a habeas corpus, not a habeas corpus, no, what am I trying to think of? I guess there's, I can't say it today.
Habeas corpus.
Thank you. Report given to the Supreme Court. They heard it in 2.5 hours. They ruled on it in 2.5 hours. They denied it. 3 hours after their denial, she was taken out of jail, brought before the court, read her rights for the record in front of the court, asked her if she wanted an attorney, that the one would be provided. They found an attorney for her, and then they gave her an appearance bond of $25,000 cash. Meaning they turned an appearance bond into the value of $25,000. Okay, and they ordered her to appear back in court 3 days later. She appears back in court 3 days later. She's arguing with the judge. Well, she did an okay job with the judge, but the judge says, look. It's remedial contempt. There's no prison time. You don't need your court-appointed attorney to be here. At the end of the proceedings, he can incarcerate her in jail until she pays the $25,000 cash. But there's a problem. This judge found her informa pauperis 3 weeks before he ever levied a fine. Once you're found informal pauperous, they cannot levy any fine against you.
Once you don't have any money, is that what you're saying? Is that
Right.
what it means?
Informal pauperous means you have no lawful money of the United States.
Okay.
If you're impecunitinous, means that you have money of the United States, but if they take it from you, you'll lose your house and all your goods that you have. Those are two different levels of informal pauperous. One that says you don't have it. One says if you make me give it to you, then I will be a pauper. Okay? But anyways, either way, the court ruled that way. So when the court asked her to pay $25,000 cash to the court violated her Eighth Amendment rights to the Constitution. Because they levied an excessive fine because the court already found out that she was broke. So once the court ruled that she was broke, they couldn't assess a fine to her
But she could never pay.
because they already said that she could never pay it in the court records.
Yeah.
So he screwed up. So she spent 10 days in jail. No, 10 weeks in jail, I'm sorry. 10 weeks in jail. We do a second one to the Supreme Court. Please hear this. One thing you can't say in a habeas corpus to the Supreme Court is you can never say anything about an injured party in the brief. Because if you say anything about the injured party in the brief, that means that the party is injured. Therefore, the court doesn't have to find the party that's injured and take them out because they've already admitted that they're injured. What you're doing is you want the court to take you out, so you got to say, well, this happened to me. Now, I'm injured. I'm not injured, but please, this is what happened to me. Please get me out of jail. They heard that one in 2 hours, and it took them 4 days to execute it. And then what happened was is they ordered the judge. You have the head judge of the county. You have the peon judges, and then you have the little magistrate judges. Well, the magistrate judge is the one that screwed everything up. The judge that's in charge of the magistrates, the chief judge of the county, would not review the lower peon judge's ruling. The Supreme Court, I don't know, through a phone call or something, called because the guy that's ahead of the magistrates did the review, which they refused to do 6 months, or about 6 months to do the review. They were asking for the review all this time. They didn't do any of it. Then all of a sudden they do it right after the Supreme Court denied it, but they still heard it pretty fast within 2 hours of the filing. So then they issued her release, and she's going through all the booking thing to get out of jail, right? As she's doing that, she goes in front of the clerk, and the clerk tells her, hey, you're going to pay that $25,000 cash, or is it going to be a check? As she holds up the thing that says that she gets released, it says, what about immediate release? Do you not understand? She said, I'm not paying it, and I'm not going to pay it. It says I don't have to because you guys violated my rights. She goes, oh, okay. And she got out, so she's still working on that one.
I thought there wasn't a debtor's prison. Isn't that the same thing? Debtor's prison?
Well, if you're lucky enough to be found informal pauperous and they level a fine against you in tax court, guess what? You can't pay it.
And then
It's
maybe-
moot.
Right, but I thought they,
It's not a debtor's prison. What they do, the court orders you to do something.
And you
don't-
refuse to do the order.